going to be editing chapter 2 now. Let's get this stuffies over here. Okay, oh, you know what? I'm going to put this one back here at 1. There we go. Okay. Chapter 2 of Your Money Sign, segment 1. So this is the girls. Segment 1. Okay, here. The girls were on the half-circle booth, engaging in their favorite game, people watching. It is too hot outside to be walking around in a full suit like that, remarked Stephanie. Yeah, but he is handsome, and that necktie just makes me want to grab it, smoldered Susan. They all laughed. Oh, yeah, okay, so the girls meet Izzy. The girls meet Izzy. From the other side of the booth, they heard a woman's voice. Ben, what would you do with him? I've been debating between the bathroom or a supply closet. A short, stout woman with bright green hair came around the corner and joined them on the booth with a foolish grin. No, you can't go to a supply closet because it'll smell like cleaning supplies, defended Samantha. Well, not necessarily. It could just be a food storage, offered Stephanie. Ooh, good points. Still, if it was food, it probably has chocolate syrup. I could use that. The mysterious woman was biting her lip as the entire table stared at the man. He took notice of them, turned, and smiled while saying, "Ladies," as he walked out with his coffee. They broke out into laughter. Oops, guess we got carried away, joked Susan. Sally slapped her hand on the table. Okay, enough play. Who are you, little lady? Yeah, how did you get your hair so pretty? I love the green curls, added Samantha. I'm Isabella. I write romance novels and travel to get inspiration for my stories. As for the hair, I use coconut oil for moisture and all plant-based dyes for the color. I gotta say, you ladies are fun. The way she smiled still left some mystery to her somehow. We come here to people watch, started Stephanie. Oh, you mean the zombies, said Isabella nonchalantly. Excuse me? Asked Sally, more annoyed than usual. The people going from one paycheck to the next, living out what the world told them to. They're living, but they're dead inside. Hence, zombies with a $sign for the ending S, because money took their brains away. She pulled out a small green journal and wrote out the word for them all to see. I have to say that makes sense, said Samantha as she slowly looked around. The main thing is make sure none of them infect you, Isabella cautioned. Are you actually suggesting that some stranger will come and bite you? That's ridiculous, scolded Sally. Susan shushed Sally with her hand and then encouraged Isabella to continue. I didn't say bite, I said infect. They have horrible ideas about money, and if you listen to them, you could become a wage slave just like them. They'll tell you to go to college or get a loan for a car that costs more per month than buying a house. Isabella threw up her hands and shook her head disapproving. Hey, we all went to college, and Samantha's still going, defended Stephanie. And how long did it take you to pay off the debt? Did you get a job in the field you studied? Isabella lost none of her enthusiasm. The four redheads slowly looked at each other. I rest my case. Let me guess, your parents told you to? Isabella tilted her head. This is the girls meet Izzy. They all laughed. Okay, enough money talk. What do you think is up with those two? Susan indicated the man and woman who just entered. Ooh, that's more dramatic. He's her father's business partner or her professor. Isabella wasn't even trying to hide that she was talking about them. Her boss, that would be steamy, said Stephanie. Isabella gave a disapproving look. What if she's seducing her professor to get to his boss? Samantha offered. They all nodded approvingly and pondered for a moment. You know, she's fun. We should keep her, Susan exclaimed. Samantha and Stephanie agreed, and everyone looked at Sally. Fine, but I refuse to call you Isabella. I had a dog named that, Sally retorted. Call me Izzy. Alright, so that was segment 1, which I love. Segment 2. Chapter 1, segment 2. How do you figure out the life you want to build in a way that is realistic? Not just a fluff fantasy, but something real and tangible enough that you can accurately evaluate if it really is the life you want. Create a schedule. I'll call it this chapter, Create a Schedule. Create. Okay, that was horrible. Okay, you know what? We're going back to pens. Done with it. Create a schedule. That's right. You heard me in your head. I didn't stutter. What time would you prefer to wake up? Set an alarm to go off at the time that day. Carry on with your current life, and when that alarm goes off, take a moment to consider if you'd really like this time. The alarm is just a guide to help you do a quick thought experiment. Would you like having 3 days off from work every week? Or would that drive you crazy? Set an alarm for the 3 days you want. The amazing thing is that the brains don't need to actually experience something for you to know if you like it or not. And it just needs to think it will experience it soon. Okay, I haven't introduced that yet. So we're going to take the S out because I haven't been there yet. Have you ever thought about eating something and just the thought of it gave you an urge to go get it? That's what we're doing here. Would you like to sleep 4 hours a night with 1 power nap in the afternoon? Set some alarms. Just by bringing our intentions to our attention, our brains will start finding ways to get it. I haven't introduced it yet, so why do I have it? Remember Susan's 1% effort rule? Simply by putting a tiny effort, setting an alarm, you are allowing the potential to create great opportunity for yourself. When do you want to eat? Some people are obsessed with glucose burning, and so they eat low-quality foods 3 to 7 times a day. Others are focused on fat burning, so they eat one nutrient-dense meal every 20 to 48 hours. Set an alarm for each time you would want to eat. Maybe you start with 3 hours between meals, but notice that you aren't actually hungry. So you get ambitious and set an alarm for 8 hours between meals. At hour 5, you get shaky and aggressive. Okay, good information. Now you know that 5 hours between meals works for you. Again, this is your body and your life and your goals. This book cannot possibly know what will work for you. You must do the work yourself. Do you want hobby time? How often and for how long? Set some alarms and experiment. Maybe you think 5 hours every Saturday to hike would be amazing. So you try it, and the first weekend you're ready to go after only 2 hours. So you decide that is actually all you really need. You usually don't need as much as you think you do. So set some alarms and do thought experiments. It's like when you're not allowed to have a certain candy as a kid. So of course, all you crave at every event is that certain candy. Then, when you make your own money, you go out and buy bags of it. After a couple of months, you almost can't stand eating another piece and only reserve it for once a year. Right now, you may hate your job and hate your roommates and hate your car, so you just want to win the lottery and buy your mom a house, then get yourself a boat and live in it. Okay, at least you know your starting point. Instead of quitting your job, just think of what time you would want to wake up on your boat. Maybe you think 4 a.m. would be great to fish, so you set an alarm. It wakes you up and you go outside for a quick moment. It is freezing and dark and miserable. You climb back into your warm bed and go back to sleep. Now you know that maybe you aren't a morning boater. You can try out the life you want while still living the life you have right now. And that was segment 2. Alright, chapter 2, segment 3. How often do you eat out? No need to brace yourself for a scolding. I won't give you one. Again, your life must be customized to you. If the restaurant can cook and prepare a nutritious meal for you so you can focus on other things, then that's smart. However, if you're borderline diabetic and keep stopping at the unhealthy fast food place out of habit, you need to reevaluate. Some people find cooking at home is quicker because they just lightly season a protein, air fry, and enjoy a side salad with it. A restaurant would take longer and take them out of the comfort of their home. If you know someone who cooks, well, ask them if you could hire them to be your personal chef. Even, it didn't print well. I think it's like if you don't exchange money, you could compensate them in other ways. Sometimes, for a stay-at-home senior or lonely housewife, just the fact that they can provide is all the payment they need. We are each different and are looking for different things, so don't assume that option is beyond your financial means. And if you insist you must pay someone who doesn't want to be paid, then you need to ask yourself what is behind that money trigger. Food is essential, and we have to eat, so take serious consideration about it. Some people use this topic to launch into a self-pity seminar about wages and doctors and their weight and their childhood and how they're not to blame for their health. You have integrity and you hold yourself accountable for your habits. Use the 1% effort and research how the human digestive system works. When you realize that the body can use different forms of energy, glucose and ketones for example, you'll begin to see that you do have a choice. Some people are so removed that they think bread and pasta are actual whole foods. If that's you, time to switch to the explore mindset and discover more about food. Others like to pride themselves on always buying the cheapest brand. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all week because the loaf and jelly were cheaper than a protein and salad. FYI, these are the people not including the added expenses of when their immune system is starved of vital nutrients and they get sick once or twice a year. Yes, soda is cheaper than a protein shake. However, a hospital visit is much more expensive. Your money habits go beyond just buying things. Not warming up before a run so you hurt yourself and call out of work the next day. Staying up too late the night before because you enjoyed watching the game but then doze off behind the wheel and hit a fence. Ignoring your taxes for a few years and ending up going to jail for a bit. These are money habits. And the first habits to evaluate are your eating habits. There we go. Eating habits. Eating habits, that's what we'll call this segment. Eating habits. Eating habits. Okay. Grabbing that energy drink every morning and then having a heart attack 3 years later. The sugary foods causing you to have no energy and a bad attitude leading to a nasty divorce. The steak every night leading to costly medications. There are long-term consequences past your short-term emotional gains. Buying the sugary salad dressing for a few dollars cheaper isn't a smart money move. Eating it at a smoothie shop with fresh veggies blended in isn't a waste of money. Stop congratulating yourself for not thinking it through. That's lazy, and only you have to live with the real-world results. Observe how you're eating, learn how the digestive system actually works, then start doing thought experiments about the long-term costs of your current habits. Your food affects your money long after you purchase it. If you have low energy, life is miserable. If you're agitated, then socializing is painful for those who have to put up with you. Take accountability. All right, that was segment 3. Now we're on chapter 2, segment 4. What do you like about your job? Legit question, because the answer is that you like it enough to stay. What is it about you that keeps you there? What fears come up if you consider getting fired today? Some people become self-employed. Does that feel exciting or terrifying to you? If you were to walk in today and your job sent you home, would you go home and binge watch some movies? Would you be writing on your next book? Maybe you walk the home improvement store to get some lawn care clients. What is your temperament? Perhaps you've never thought cleaning houses self-employed. Perhaps you've never thought. Perhaps you've never thought about. Let's think about. Perhaps you have never thought about cleaning houses self-employed instead of working fast food. How would you even start? Take a look at your paycheck. Do you know how to read it? Take some time to read every line and understand what it means. With that check, write down how much you earned and how much actually went into your bank account. What emotions or memories are coming up? Are taxes a money trigger for you? Most people are shocked when they realize how much is taken from them for government programs that they will never even use themselves. Next, look at the amount that you actually received and think about that time frame. Did you have to pay bus fare or purchase has to get to work? Did you have to pay for bus fare or purchase has to get to work? I'm just going to take that out because I don't even know what the hell that means. Did you have to pay for bus fare to get to work? Because that didn't even make sense. Do you have to buy your work uniforms or supplies? Does your job stress you out so you smoke, drink, eat out, watch movies to relax at the end of it? I call this that's what we're going to call it. Job cost index. And that's going to be our first one. Our JCI. It's going to be our first graphic. Our JCI. JCI. Job cost index. I call this the JCI, and I have seen it firsthand change lives. JCI stands for Job Cost Index. Your job is costing you. You have to get there somehow. That costs. You have to look a certain way and have certain supplies. That costs. You have to restrain yourself and endure social situations that could be causing expensive coping habits. Subtract how much your job is actually costing you. Then take that number and divide it by the number of days you worked on that check. That's your JCI. That is how much your job is actually costing you. Actually earning you. Earning for you? No, that's how much your job is actually getting you. Because costing didn't sound right. That's your JCI. That's how much your job is actually giving you. Giving you. Yeah, that word works better. If you didn't pay so much, if you didn't have to... Damn, woman, where was my brain that day? Pay so much in transportation, uniforms, and supplies, and it was enjoyable to you, so you didn't adapt coping mechanisms, you'd make less hourly but keep more monthly. Again, just like your eating habits, your job habits cost you long term. Staying at a job that pays a little more but causes extra expenses overall is not a smart money move. Once you figure out your JCI, then you know how much to make a day. You could do that with a different job or become self-employed. As a self-employed person, you would need to make the same as before taxes were taken out, because you will now be responsible for them. Don't let taxes be the excuse to not start a business. You are paying them as an employee anyways. Stop the excuses and make informed decisions. Some people love working on a team and being directed on what to do. Others love managing people, but want free reign on what to focus on. So I come back to my original question. What do you like about your job? Where one night shift worker might hate how quiet the shift is, another might adore the time to listen to podcasts uninterrupted. Obviously, enough is working to keep you there, so start with what is already working for you. Then do thought experiments about options that keep you Then do thought experiments about options that keep what is working and improves what isn't. Money goes far beyond what you see on your paycheck and bank statements. Your everyday habits determine your current finances. There is no mystery here. The answers are right in front of you. Change is always possible at any time, but with just a little JCI and thought experiments, you can save yourself years of trial and error. Okay, that's 1 through 4. That's 20 minutes. We will end this edit there.